Okay, I am live. I'm just trying to put here in a couple places some stuff here. Ooh. Let's see how this goes. How you doing, guys? Okay, so that's it. Um, Let me verify my audio. Okay, so let's go. So let's start. Uh, so what I have here is something that I was been working the last couple days, and pretty much what I am doing now is just to uh, what I'm trying to do is just to create the data layer, and let me explain you how this goes. So for this, I'm using my own package, the Eric Roder codes / nx-electron-vite. So right now this is just running locally using Verdasio. So I already did the setup of the application. So the only thing that I need to do is inside of NX just to run my frontend application, and that's it. So the plugin wires up your React Vite or Vue Vite application, and it injects the needed dependencies for running your application as a React as a Electron application. So I'm just gonna say here nx serve project. I don't know the front end. And this originally it was a React project, but now it is just an Electron React project. Oop. Oops, I did something. Gonna find no way. Ah, what happened? I saw something here, optimizing it because log file has changed. Okay, let me see if it has something to do. Oof, okay. Big scare there. Okay, but it's gonna run the application. Okay, so what you see right now is just one of the forms, and this part is belonging to your SRC applications, and I created pages for that. I have a routing component that's gonna determine what things to load. So I have here a definition field code that is the default page that you're gonna fill if you want to start to work. Potentially, I'm gonna add a password, so it doesn't mix users by mistake. So I was just gonna ensure that. Right, so some notification, no need to worry about that. So let's continue what I was doing, and I was creating the data layer. So for the data layer, I needed to observe the composition of the forms and chunk the information. And for that, in my schemas, I started to work with SOD. So it was a good thing I learned SOD, and I converted all my type. First, I generated the type, and I say, wait a moment, this doesn't make sense because I need to evaluate the object when I receive it, and I had to properly save it into the data store of the application. So by using Zod, I ensure that the needed data is there, and it's gonna throw me an exception if there are pieces that are not matching the schema, which is quite useful. So all of this becomes types of all of this. So for me, it's easy to identify now what the technician schema is, the operator's device schema is. Oh, operators. Oh, see, it's a technician. It's an array of technicians, so for the autocomplete purposes. Gonna complete some of that information later on. But right now, what I'm writing is the data layer. So add new intake form. Now I have to generate the public report for the day. Calculate consecutive sheet, add a patient, get patient by phone number, add CPT code, get list of CPTs, add technician, get list of technicians. So I have 4 data stores. I'm using LowDB. It is the best way that I can handle that kind of a scenario. And it's giving me very good ideas on what to do. Okay. So I'm gonna say here public get list of patients of intakes per day. So first, let's assess what I have. So I know the technician. Let me remove this autocomplete. This copilot. Disable completions. Okay. So this let me think on how things I need. So the technician that is working has to get the list of what they did on a specific date. Of day. I'm gonna say here technician ID. This is a string, and data is a string. So yes, it's practically this can calculate consecutive bill sheet, but I need the intake forms. So it's gonna be this. No, let's see here. Const db is equals to this intake form db. Oh, I may have to add documentation to these definitions. And I like public. Okay. Action to the data store related to technicians. CPT codes, connection related to patients, to the intake forms. So it's gonna be way easier for me to relate what kind of information it is. And let's add documentation for this too. Default data for patients, or default data for intake forms. So the first time that you create a database, when you go into the data stores, it initializes the databases. It's gonna read what is there, but if there is no data, it's gonna load the defaults. That's the reason we see this here. So this is gonna be an empty array of technicians and so on. Technicians, CPT codes, patient intake forms. Practically, there is a relationship over there. Now what I'm going to do is to see connection to the data store related to intake forms. Great. I'm going to say here, oh wait, oh, this is an asynchronous. Oh wait, db read. Now, from here, I need to take the current date of today. So I'm going to say here, now is gonna say here new date. Oh no, I had to pick up the date. So this date, how we are going to format that is we're gonna define how it's gonna be read later on, but for the moment it's gonna be here. Const intakes is equals to db data dot map. No, filter. Because the idea is to take the list of intakes for your day and display it into the view that is gonna print the report of how many intakes you did today. Let's say here map. I'm gonna say here intake. I'm gonna say here intake dot. I'm gonna say here technician ID matches technician ID and intake dot date of service is equals to date. Okay, I'm gonna say here return intakes. Okay, so this is gonna return me an array or a promise, whatever it is. So I'm gonna say here a method that will get the list of intakes of made by a technician in a given date. Okay, so this looks pretty much very simplistic. Now what we need to do is to project that information through the preload. So when Electron pushes, because we have two main processes, and I may have to probably just load this so I can explain this in a bit more detail for the people who doesn't know Electron. So just let me load draw.ai. I'm gonna edit it, but I'm gonna create a new diagram. Yep. So this is part of the documentation I'm gonna build later on. So what happened with Electron? Oh, what are all my charts? I want to keep everything. I don't know why it is not keeping anything what I had before. Okay. Apply. Okay, there you go. So assuming this is Electron. So let's assume this is your Electron app. The Electron app has two phases. So one is your presentation layer. This is, let's say this is your React or Vue or X frontend project. Okay. So this is called the render process. So let's put here, this is a renderer process. And we have a main process that is going to be our backend. So this is going to be your backend that is usually a Node.js app or scripts. But those cannot go directly into the main process or into the render process. So what you need is something called what is this? You need a preload. So you define your logic and then you put this into a preload. And this preload script is gonna bring information to the Electron app. So this is what we call our main process. So this is part of our, yeah, this is gonna be more explicit. This is the main process. And this is the render process. Okay, this part of over here. So let me take out this. And this part over here is the render process. So between the render process and the main process, and there is something called the preload. That is something that bridges my API to the from main process to render process. So I can read API information. So let's say I'm just gonna keep using the trapezoid. Oh, you know what? I think I made a mistake with here. So this not backend information. Of course, it communicates over here, but not directly. So whatever happens in the main process has to go through the reload. So only then I can be able to communicate whatever I want to my Electron app in the renderer process. And this is a bidirectional process. So I can send back and forth information to my main process and then load information as needed. So I guess this defines a little bit some simplicities on the architecture model of Electron. So you can still define your front end, and you can define something like a fetch or whatever, or a function that makes the call to the preload. The preload is something that hands between the backend and frontend in a safe way inside of Electron, and I fetch the information that I needed through whatever I design on the back. Now that we know this, I was writing this. So now that I have this in my preload, because I have some of this, what I want to do is to inject some of these properties inside of my application. So the context bridge is actually this one. Using the context bridge. Okay. So what I want to do is to create the scripts to send and receive information. So I'm going to say here import oh, Wait a second. Wait a second. So exposing the mainboard APC renderer. So I can define whatever I want. So what I intend to pass here. So I'm gonna say here, let's start with what we want with the application. We want to register technician. I'm gonna define login technician. So we can register a technician inside of the system, or we can log in. Once login, I have to whether determine if I want to see list intakes by date, or I'm gonna create ingest create intake. No, record intake form. It's gonna be the right name. Record intake form. And we're gonna send get intake form to print PDF. I'm gonna say here get intakes by date to PDF, and that's pretty much what it should be doing. Okay, so now we're gonna define parameters type of IPC renderer on off send invoke. Okay, so because this comes with it. With I have to set up those arguments. mm. So register technician is gonna params. It's gonna be an object. I'm gonna say here. Oh, what is this parameters is type of? Obtain the parameters of function type in a tuple. Okay, so I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna say here parameter is gonna be first name, it's a string, last name is a string, password is gonna be a string, and a code. A technician code. Okay, so login technician is gonna be technician code password. Okay, so we're gonna hear params is gonna be date string and technician code string So I'm gonna say here params. Oh, I wondered I had to export this as a common library. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, this is the main process. No, I have to define an IPC main somewhere around here. Let me see if IPC main. Nope. I have to define a script just for IPC main. So I'm quite rust on this one. May have to read documentation on how to get that, but pretty much the workaround is it should be very simplistic. Uh, electron IPC main. Mm-hmm. So I have to define that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's use this piece of documentation for that. So I'm gonna say here, I define my DB, and this is I'm gonna call this new file. Is gonna call it as an API.ts, and I'm gonna create IPC main. What is the difference between electron and electron main? Hmm? I'm gonna do with electron main because we have to scope it properly. So I have to create the handle. Oh, wait, what? What version is this one? Documentation. I remember this was handled by. Okay, let me see if handle, yes, passes whatever I'm defining in my main. What happened? Oh, it's because I am missing something? Oh, it's because of this one, sorry. Recording take form, params, I'm gonna say here, uh, intake is equals to any. For the moment, any. I don't like any's. I like to have proper typing on this. I don't think this is gonna allow me to import my types properly from the back into the front. So let me think through what we could do here. I didn't test the scenario where I have to use a library. In theory, it should compile it. Let's generate a library. Uh, this it has to be a common library, and then I'm gonna library is gonna be here common, and this is what things starts to cook weird here because we had to decide what to use. And since backend and frontend are using Vite, so I had to use probably Vite, or I should use none. That's gonna be our ES build. Hmm. Maybe I just leave it as a TSC. I say here libs common, and it should be like a medical equipment record slash common. Well, it's gonna generate this automatically. Okay. So I'm going to say here generate. Oh, my headset is hungry. So because the application, the schema, that's what I am debating here, and is that your schema doesn't really tells you the scope of the application, but because front end and backend are like two different things. Uh, let's see if I have to declare the Electron application separate in a separate project. I just decided to create a simplicity inside of the architecture by merging the front end inside and the Electron app fused in one project to make it simple. But I'm seeing that from the context of if you want to diagram the project, what is the Electron app? I cannot tell just it is embedded inside of the, yeah, maybe I have to create a boilerplate code for a standard app that segregates the Electron code from your common, well, from your front end application. Now that I have that under consideration. Okay, so now that we have our library, we can start to work it, moving these schemas out from here. So let me copy this and let's go over our libraries. Common src calls index, and this is our common. There you go. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna export. We are not gonna test anything from here. At this pointless because it's just types and exports from common. Great. And the tsconfig, I don't worry about that anymore. Okay. So from that context, I had to stop the application and let's see how it behaves now that I have the context of the application inside of the architecture of the app. So if I go into my tsconfig base, so it was make equipment record common. Because this is just an alias. We're gonna just call libs common. Yep. Let's keep it simple. Okay. Great. Now we can start to focus here. Let's go into our preload stuff. So since I'm gonna take out the schema from here, I wonder what's gonna happen. So this goes nowhere because that was before of a schema inside of electronic application. Now it goes as a part of our. Oh, may have to reload. So it reads the configuration from the main TS file. Great. So let's start by trying to tie up information. No, it has to be import from libs. Oh, it didn't recognize that. Oh, so I have to go back. And I'm gonna say here medical equip. So it apparently doesn't take my custom path. I'm gonna say here reload, and let's see if that takes it. Now let's see. I'm gonna say here oh, why is not taking the path? Hmm. Ah. Okay. I may have to Oh, maybe in the library configuration common. Let's put this back for a moment, and let's rethink this for a moment. Let me remove again this. Remove from X. Force through. Run it. Okay. Now let's generate one, but with the correct path. Library. So I'm gonna say here. Um, Directory where the lib is placed. I'm gonna say libs common, and let's type medical equipment record slash common. So in theory, this should be okay. And let's see what happens if I now go into the common and I place the code that I have here. So in theory, my project.json should have what it is needed. Hopefully, by reading here in the APIs, no, not in the APIs, in the DB, it's gonna take the import. Huh. Maybe the compiler should be none. Yeah, the compiler should be none for this one. Maybe it could be one reason why I'm not seeing it. Maybe I had to do an X reset. Anything is not gonna stop it because I have Node open. I mean, Visual Studio Code open. Yeah, I knew it. So let me fix all the imports. Add all missing imports. There you go. So for the moment, let's leave it like that, and let's cannot find electron main corresponding declaration. So it's gonna be here. Huh? Okay, let's leave this empty for the moment. And why it is crying for? Oh, it's for this. Let me open the other project. To see what is this missing. Let me see the files. Docs, the generator. Files. So the main package should have some reference to somewhere. It's because probably it's of this. Now I recall. Let's see. Maybe it's because of this one. Oh, so probably I have to include this into the main. Oh, looks like it took it. No, it's not saying that it's an error. Yep. Okay. Now let's do a commit before I do any change. Oh, did I change the compiler? They change it. Don't tell me I just add lib again without considering the compiler. Ah, no. This. Okay, I had to delete the project again. Not the project, executor. I'm gonna say here. Let me pwd. We copy this. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So let's close this again. Don't. And let me close VS Code. PowerShell. And I try to kill this one over here. And of course, it's not going to let me because I have to unlock it, find out the process. Let me see, what is the unlocker? Unlock Hunter, yes. Oh, you're also seeing to locking process using the. Oh, I can drag? Okay, great, because I was looking for that. Okay, so I know ESBuild is killing this guy. It's not letting me go. So I don't know what could be causing ESBuild to be idle, but this is recurrent many times. Delete it. This action, just no, do they unlock it? Okay, so can I delete this? Great. Now nx. Now I can delete the project properly. Yeah, let's remove it. Okay, and let's create a game, but making sure that we pick none. I don't recall doing like that. Generate nx library. Let me see. It is a library? Nope, of course not. So I'm gonna use library name is gonna be common. Builder is gonna be none. Yeah, let's see here. It's common. Then what's it be here? Medical equipment record common. And it has to be built up. Nope. This should not be a buildable library. It's going to be a consumed library that's going to be injected in its own, depending on where you load this. So let's try again. Let's go into schemas for a moment. And let's see. Not here. It's in the DB part. Let me comment this line here on the top. And let's say here import from. Oh no, it is not loading it for some reason. Maybe it's because of my config types with client. node. Ah, and now I see why I had to segregate this. It's because of the types. Emite JavaScript additional. True. Maybe this can help me with the yes module interrupt. Potentially, it's gonna allow me to do this. Hmm. The alias are not being taken here. Okay, whatever. I wonder if I just comment the whole thing here. Oh no, copy, comment all of this. I just go to common and it's gonna bring this from here. Uh, the model should be common JS, CJS. Oh, because it's a CJS. Oh, uh, hmm. So that's probably one of the reasons that probably I cannot see the import is because the difference between the import models I have. And this is a CJS. Let me see. Okay. I won't worry about that too much. We had to do some extra research on the side. Yeah, this is hmm. So definitely is something that it has to be done with the type of library I have here. Hmm. It has to do a lot on the type of library. And it's mainly because this project is not segregating the when I go into electron application, it's not segregated. Now that I'm starting to see issues here, and it's because I'm merging the whole application into only one thing, and it's skipping uh, needed things for the Electron app. When I type a TS file, it keeps thinking this is still a React file when it is not. So I may have to definitely segregate its own the executor for the plugin to be its own application that serves the specific front-end application. Otherwise, we're gonna have problems. Okay, I don't understand the context. Later on, I'm gonna do the changes on the library. So this type has to be living here. Definitely, there is no way back. I cannot import it. If I change the settings of my project in the tsconfig, I'm gonna blow up the application. I'm pretty sure it's gonna blow up. Oh, and it's the ESMOL interrupt. Emit additional JavaScript to is support running for common JS models. If this enables allow synthetic default imports. Yes. So in theory, by enable this to true, it allows me to import CJS. But apparently it is not making the import. Let's see. Yeah, it is still not taking the right import here. Because I said this to Node. I wonder if I had to do something like this. I'm gonna say here. I know I'm gonna say here. No. I wonder if this fixes that. I don't think it's gonna fix it. I don't think it's gonna fix it. Yeah, that's not gonna fix it. Was silly of me thinking that it's gonna fix it. Yeah. So I understand now the issue, and I'm gonna change how the library is creating the application. So I'm not gonna attach the application to the. I'm not gonna attach the application to the well, the setup of Electron inside of the front-end application. Rather, I create those and I run an executor based on the configuration that I have in the React in the front in the Electron application. Has to be two different applications. I know that. Okay, it's good that I know the issue. So for the moment, we're just gonna keep two different types. It's not a model. Oh, it's because I enable. Excuse me. I know what I did. It has to be false. Then it's gonna work. Add all missing imports. Mm-hmm. May have to check out the config.json apes common. Yes, so this is the one I want to. Oh, it's because it's commented. I see. Now it should be back. Okay. So now that I know this, I had to create a separate type for this. Well, it's the same file, but it's gonna work in a separate way. Maybe I don't need command, but I need this. So I need to have some cross-share code. But I know that I have to be more careful when I define this. Now I have to do adjustments to the plugin because it's gonna break. It's gonna break a like if you want to use a type for the front end and the back end, you cannot because the the code that you are handling in your React project is for React projects, not for backend, and it's gonna break whatever is there. So I have to uh, copy the configuration from the node perspective viewpoint and uh, run the Electron application from that perspective. So let's see how that goes. Oof. Let's go. So I was creating the what is it? The API. So I'm gonna say here IPC main dot handle, and now we have to look into our preload. I'm gonna say here intake. Now this should be reading fine. Oh, still doesn't load it. Mm. I bet if I put this as a TSX, it's gonna import it, but I don't want to do that. Oh, but it's still in okay. From it was in the main, right? Okay. Now I can bring intake. Now I'm gonna say here get intake for to PDF. So I have to be able to have the intake ID. Uh, it's gonna be a string. And get intakes by date to PDF. I'm gonna say here because it's a two params in this case. It's gonna take the get intakes by date. Oh, the date. Yeah, it's list intakes by date. Oh, but I still need to print that front PDF. Ignition ID is equals to string and date is equals to string. Okay. So now I have to do the handles here. Is the date ignition. And accordingly to the documentation, let's go back to the documentation that I have here. So I'm passing arguments. It's an async function that receives an event and arguments. Oh, it's saying that this is deprecated now? Even it's deprecated. Declaration was marked deprecated here. Oh. And I do something with this. So we're gonna copy this and multiply this. Login technician. List intakes by date. It would be cool if I have like a list of keys that I can use for the functions. Record intake form. Oh, I had to make my call. Get intake. Get intakes today to PDF. Okay, so let's go to our types in the schema. So pick it, first name, last name, password. It's gonna be a c.string. There you go. So there is a way to use crypto for me to encode the password. I'm not gonna say the real password ever. Okay. So what I have to do here is to pass to the invoke all the data that I need. I'm gonna say here send. I'm gonna say here const params. I'm gonna say here return IPC renderer.send because we are sending information. We are expecting some result. Oh, I may have to send, let me see, on channel. Oh, so I had to say, so let me see. So I'm not returning anything here. I'm expecting a result from on certain event happens, return me this. So I'm gonna say here episode on the name of the channel, register technician. Oh, wait, what? I'm sending. So let me see here, send. Send us, okay, so here's the documentation. Sends an asynchronous message to the main process via channel along with arguments, blah, blah, blah. Sending on started JavaScript such technology, special return exception. So the main process doesn't have a support for that objects, such as blah, blah, blah. If you need to transfer a message port, if you want to receive a single response from the main process like a result of a method called invoke. So que say here, return IPC renderer.invoke register technician. And I'm gonna pass params. Mm-hmm. And it's gonna be for every single one of them. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna say here return IPC renderer.invoke the name of the channel. Oops. Passing params. Great. Okay. So in theory, this should be giving certain capabilities. So now I have to tell to the front-end application to read that. Uh-huh. The interface window IPC renderer now have that, but I don't have the autocompletes for those ones. Let's see what happens. Mm-hmm. What I can do is to try to list. Oh, what I'm gonna do is to try to communicate and see if the API works. Well, I didn't do the communication yet. So let's close this. Let's go. The preload is gonna call this. Now my main should include the API. So I'm gonna say here import the API. I'll say here import. Oh no, that has to be exposed inside of the main process. What is the preload? Okay, this is fine. The preload exposes that. It's always with the response from the main process. So in the main process, I had to import in theory, the API should at least tell me the register technician. I'm gonna say here, oh, what is the list of CPT codes? Get CPT codes params. No, get CPT codes it doesn't do anything. I'm gonna say here return IPC renderer.invoke get CPT codes. So preloads intends to capture whatever I'm saying here. Get CPT codes. Gonna say here console.log Okay, list. Okay, so if that happens, totally fine. And now we have to test that it works. It's gonna be I'm gonna be running part of the code here. So let me load this around here. Okay, I'm gonna say here. Use effect. The function I'm gonna use and dependencies, but that's it's gonna run the first time. I'm gonna say here window dot IPC. Huh? How this was before? I have a I have an example before. 1 second. I think was here. Uh, Let me see. Oh, don't tell me that I now I had to look into the code. Oh, what was that library that looks super fast code somewhere? Uh, I think I bookmarked it in Twitter, but I had to look for that for later on. Mm, where? Uh, okay. What are you doing now? Ready for what? Okay, good for you. Now I had to recall what was the project. Hmm. Control open. Now let me see if I recall the project, but I can't recall where I place it. Hmm. Better I look at here. Uh, Let me see if I have preview. Uh, yes. Okay, I'm back. So I'm trying to review in which part of the application I put the stuff. No, maybe it was around here. Open. Oh, this was the main render in the main app. Oh, I guess was here. Versions. Window.electron. So let's see if this was the case. Uh, so this was not the app, and this was not the app. Okay, let's see if window.electron is here. Yeah. Oh, it may not be defined. So I'm gonna find out what is the reason why it cannot find that. Oh, it's because this emp.d.ts. Oh, so let me see. Let me verify a couple of stuff. Okay. Because if this is reading my d.ts file, it could be possible that my main file. Okay, so I'm seeing that the preload has an index.d.ts that I didn't saw. So I'm gonna say here, new file, index.d.ts, and I'm gonna paste the code here. Oh, wait, what? I have Electron toolkit here? Oh, so let me see what is this Electron toolkit that I had before. Let me see the dependencies of the other project, because when I was working in the initial state of the plugin, I ended up with something like this. Ah, so there is already a similar project, but it's not embedded in NX. So let me see the package.json. Oh, there are preload, utils, yes, this config prettier, and yes, config ts. Hmm. And when I was serving this app, what was happening? Oh, well, there was no distinction actually. So I had to have some considerations here. So probably that could be one reason. So for this to work properly, I had to change. Oh, now I had to start to change my toolkit. Let me see my list of dependencies. Yeah, probably I'm gonna change with the plugin Electron. Yeah, the bit plugin Electron is gonna be troublesome. Let me see considerations here. Electron-vite config. This is composing the whole thing into one thing, but the package.json, I'm just interested in that one in the type. It's saying something says model. Nope. So this is an advantage because I need to type model. So just to make things easier, I have to rethink how my current application is building. So I had to add uh, a TS file. Interface window, electron, unknown. Okay. So is this going to? Yeah, I had to run the project. And npm. No, nx-serve frontend. Now, when I go work here, of course, this is gonna be. I'm gonna create an index.t.ts here. And leave it like that. If this is true, and I edit view, no, let me see, edit development tools. Let me see, window. Oh, what? I don't have access to Electron? Oh, I'm adding the preloader. I'm yeah. I am loading the preloader because that is not happening here, but it's happening here. IPC renderer. Let me see if. Oh yeah, IPC renderer exists. So I have to define here the IPC renderer. Yeah, and if the interface is equal to that, I don't mind. So if I say here in my technician patient, yeah, I can see that, but I'm not seeing that being typed back. What about window.ipc renderer? So it is not being registered. So I'm going to say here window IPC renderer. Now this should not cause any error in my code. Okay, now I can see the IPC renderer. And now let's see if I see the console log on the terminal. I'm gonna say here on off invoke register technician. What I was trying to get passing was okay. I don't need this file here. Get CPT codes. Oh, get intake, get CPT codes quick. Okay. And if everything works fine, I should see a console happening on my main process. Get list. There you go. Now we have communication back in front end. Now let's work into our main process. Our API determines what we're gonna do. We're gonna say here const data store is equals to new database. Okay. I'm gonna say here const result is equals to await data store dot connection to the data store related to CPT codes. Which methods are private? I may have to get these are private. I want just to expose the needed parts. I don't want to expose too much. Data store dot get list of CPT codes. I'm gonna say here console log result. And result should be an empty string. Which didn't happen. Let me see. Oh, it's a promise. So I had to say an await. So in React, we had to do this. So where is the form? Let me close all of this, close all. So I know this part is one part is backend, another part is frontend. This is my backend. My frontend is right here. Okay. I'm gonna say as const get codes is equals to asynchronous function. I'm gonna say here await const data is equals to await Windows PCB render get codes. I'm gonna say here console.log data. Okay. Let's say here get codes. And I'm gonna turn a return later on. Oh yeah, result. Send me nothing here. So let's go to the backend. The API, let's say here, return result. That's gonna cause the main process too. I'm gonna say here, view toggle development tools, and it returns me an object that is empty. Yes. Okay. So now I have an idea on what to do here. I wish that there was a way for me to convert this into a type without involving me doing too much stuff. Let's say here, electron. Let me see if electron is here. Oh, it is not here. How can I get the reference types for electron? Oh, let me see. Let me see if I can infer electron here. In, yeah. Maybe this is gonna help me with that. And is my index.ts doing exactly the same? Oh, but this is gonna look at this. If I don't do this properly, it's gonna infer me the whole thing. Ah, but it's in development mode. So I'm gonna say here electron. So in theory, this is gonna. Oh, by saying that now there is an error. Oh, it's because probably of this. Explain. Oh, so I had to create a global.ts file. Hmm. Any just to solve the issue of IPC renderer. Because the IPC renderer by itself, what it's gonna do is it's not the real IPC renderer. This is something I have to explain you guys. It's not the real IPC renderer that we are going to expose here. It is something that we're going to expose into the real world. We can name it whatever it is, but for the sake of segregating the application in a logic way, I feel like a compose to give the right context bridge. Context bridge that exposing the main world. We're going to expose something called medical cord API, and it's going to expose this. Yeah. So we are going to see that we're going to have number one, we're going to have an error as IPC renderer gets it because it's not a function. Totally fine. But we need to also check is in our frontend app. I'm going to say here, is what we wrote just now. Medical record API. Actually, what I could potentially do is to try to let's see how this goes, okay? I'm gonna say here in the preload, I'm gonna say here const medical report API is equals to this. I'm gonna say here export const medical report API. So if I say this now, this is gonna be super fishy. I wonder if it is gonna even take it into the type definition. Use in render process expose in preload.ts. So I'm gonna say here type of make a record API. I'm gonna say here import from the preload. And I'm gonna say here what I'm gonna import, make a report API. So that's say I don't think it's gonna in the global. Let's say here medical report API. Let's say here import. Who is this? Hey, Mateo, how are you doing? Sí, compadre, toca echar algún día. What are you doing? This is a preload. Okay, I think it's gonna crush it. This is gonna, I detect this is gonna be crushing it. Let's see if this crushes spectacular in a spectacular fashion or not. But this is a type definition. It's not gonna just break the whole thing. Let's see. Now my autocomplete code has to see this. So if I have window.medical medical record API, good. Show me something else. Oh, it's there's an autocomplete, so I had to say get CPT codes. It said that I don't have a tooling that allows me to find out what is my definition here, so I have to probably expose the medical report API into this global.dts. And let's see. Yeah, it still it is it's not been defined because I didn't save it. This should save now. And it should return me. Yes, now it's returning me 0, which is correct if I pull this in the main process. If I go to the main process and I go to the preload, the API. I may have to change this. This is a bit IPC main API. Let me change this IPC main dot API. Yeah. And this is gonna be completed properly. Yeah, my main. It's gonna break right here. There should be somewhere else I'm missing. What is my development tools? Okay, so it's still returning an empty object, which is fine. Window dot medical record API. Get CPT codes. Once here, await, do this. Great. Okay. Okay, so well, I guess what it only left for me is to start to connect information. Okay. I guess what I had to do here is start to get the list of medical devices. Once I here on CPT codes, set CPT codes equal. Oh, I cannot use a use state here. Oh, okay, let's say here use state empty. I'm pretty sure that it's gonna slap in the face because it has been long. I know that you're not gonna use set CPT codes inside of your uh, use effect data. So CPT codes map item. Oh, so I had to change the type. No, welcome. Welcome to my personal hell. I hope this is being taken from common because now I had to bring the CPT code type from here to there. Let's see. And I'm gonna say here CPT codes. Now it works here. And that by default should fix the one that is down here. Great. I'm gonna say here CPT codes, and CPT code option is expecting something else. So let's fix that here. CPT code option params is not what I'm expecting. I'm expecting CPT code. See, this is what I wanted to avoid. Now I have two duplications, but because the code is not properly segregated, by mixing things inside of React, now it is also detecting properly to which one it has to detect. So I have to properly segregate that in a separate library. Hmm. The idea is that I can just bring this on any environment, regardless of where I am. I'm still having an error down here. Oh, this is item dot key. There you go. What else are you complaining? So that key is something that I had to generate. And now, because I don't have any CPT codes, that's totally fine because I don't have any CTP codes recorded yet into the application. So we are going in a good way here to figure out this stuff, okay? Uh, um, oh, we have to ask. I have to create. I have to create a function that filters if what I'm receiving the type is CPT code option or the CPT code text. Hmm. So let's declare that type right now. I'm gonna say here null for the moment. And let's go into our components, and I'm gonna create a new folder. I'm gonna say here CPT. I'll be back to running. Oh, thank you very much, Mateo. Thank you for passing by. I see you around in the React. I mean, in the what React in the Angular group. Anyway, it's freaking hot. I bet it's like a probably 77 to 80 degrees in my room. Yeah, it's 82 right now. Okay, thank you. No, also thank you for the follow up. Thank you very much for the follow up. Let's create that component. We're gonna say CPT text. Now let's create a file CPT text.tsx. Say export function CPT text, and it's gonna receive this, and is going to receive parameters of CPT code. Uh, params.key, and now I'm gonna say here params.code. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I'm going to say here, return this, and we are set. Well, actually, I don't need this one. Oh, thank you very much. I don't only touch the thing is I'm doing a plugin with Electron and for a plugin for NX and Electron and Vite, so I can build Electron applications, and that does include React, but also includes Angular. But I will be touching that in next streams. The thing is I want to finish this project as soon as I can. I'm gonna say here, see. I'll say here cpt text item. I'll say here key is equals to item dot pick key. Great. Yeah, you're welcome to pass by at any time. Thank you very much for staying here for a moment. Taking your time off your busy schedule. Okay. So now we have a way to display our CPT codes. Also, we have to find a way that when I type, we have to have a state for the patient. Well, we don't have a state for the patient yet. However, I had to create we had to get the calculation of the. Let's do a list of things that I have to obtain on this form. So get list of get consecutive number. I'm gonna get patient information based on phone number, and yeah, I get the list of CPT codes, and now the save intake into DB. Yep. So that are the three things that we have to do here. Oh, date of service is today. Okay, so I'm gonna say here const date of service is equals to the new. Oh, wait. Hold your horses there for a moment. Oh, no, it's totally fine. This component, for the sake of intake, is gonna be fine, but I had to I may have to do this like a dry version of this. Otherwise, it's gonna be a bit messy. Try to control stuff here. I should register patient. So this register patient form could be used to print and send data instead of duplicating code. Okay, first we're gonna do the intake and record. I'm gonna use the same form to obtain the data, and based on that, I'm going to use the same component to print the information. So we don't duplicate code, we use everything in one simple piece of logic. More likely, I want to use a hook. I'm seeing that, okay? Let me probably create hooks here. The hook is gonna return me all the needed data that I need. Okay, so instead of placing all this bulk of logic information, what I want to do inside of the hook is take the information that, or I record the information, or I save information, or I record information, or I just read information to be print. But for the moment, let's place The logic part starts here. Hmm. I'm tempted to do this via hook. Oh, so I am obtaining the data and I have to get or set data. Ah, I'm seeing the, we're gonna do here, new file, patient form hook.ts, and let's create a hook. Uh, I forgot how to create the hooks in React, so I have to read a bit around here. I know I have a similar project that use that kind of information. My tic-tac-toe project uses hooks. Uh-huh. Okay. So I have an export const patient intake form hook. Okay. So it's gonna be a function that is not gonna accept nothing, but I'm just gonna parameterize my outputs. I'm gonna say my returns here. Okay. I'm gonna say here CPT codes is gonna be this and an empty object. I'm gonna set um, patient info is gonna be at this one. I'm gonna say get patient info that is gonna be a function that is gonna return something. I'm gonna say here set patient info that is a function that is going to accept something and is going to return something. Uh-huh. And I'm gonna say here set save intake, because there should be an action to save the intake. I'm gonna say I'm gonna pass something to this hook and it's gonna record it. So we move all the logic from here up to there. So I'm gonna just do something about this around here. Oh, I'm gonna say here get intake is gonna say some args. It's gonna be any, and it's gonna return something. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. So in that way, I can parameterize what I want to do with the application, and this save is gonna save me a ton of time and space just to control where I'm gonna place the logic of all my stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say here get CPT codes. No, I'm gonna say here. Oh no, get list CPT codes is equals to. Oh, I'm gonna say here. No, hold on. The list of codes are here, but if I want to update the list or to pre, oh, gonna be get intake CPT codes. Hmm. CPT codes is exported by itself. So we know the list of CPT codes that the application may have. I'm gonna say here. I have to pass. I have to. Oh, there is a bunch of logic happening here. So please bear with me because there is ton of stuff that is going to happen. Oh, so if you allow me for a moment, I need to make a call, and I will be right back here in the stream. Ooh, I killed the battery of my touch portal. So I had to do this manually around here. Whoops. Let's see. What is the BRB? I'll be back in a moment. Oh, not so fast. Now we can go in BRB. Okay, we are back. Ugh, I'm cooking myself here. Okay, so I can be able to move some of the data codes, but the most important part is that I start to create some data based on the inputs I have. And I had to create a modal dialog. So let's start to work with some functionality of our application, and from there we start to pile up stuff. So since I don't have, okay, let me clear up here. Since I don't have CPT codes in this report, when I click in add CPT code, it has to launch a pop-up. Okay. So when that happens, we have to when that happens, we have to trigger or to show the modal dialog. So let me see what we can do. I think we can do something with the CUI. And we're going to trigger a dialog. Mhm. Dialogues. Where is dialogue? Modal. So what I'm looking is a model. This thing over here. And yes, I need this. So more likely I need to do this. So we're going to inject this. Well, not my favorite ref for this, but just for the moment to make this more more easier, I'm gonna probably just inject. It's not my favorite way to do things, especially that one. But let's say here in components, I'm gonna say here CPT code manager. I'm gonna say here new file CPT code manager .ts. And this CPT code manager is a function CPT code manager. This is a function that for the moment is gonna return this HTML. Okay. Oh, dialog is cannot find dialog. Oh, it's TSX. Yeah. Now it's gonna fix it. Const. Okay, so we are gonna use this model and we are gonna leave it. We're gonna use this is like a CPT code manager, and potentially we are gonna inject things from the hook that I created inside of this inside of that new little guy that we just put on the screen. And only then we can be able to do something about that. Okay. I may have to probably flip the screens because it looks a bit weird that I'm pointing. When I'm pointing over here is my main 4K screen where I do mostly all my stream, and this is my real editing window, so I may have to flip this. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so we're gonna say save CPT code. save CPT code is a function that saves some args that is gonna be a CPT code and do something. Okay. So we are gonna get into the list of params. Uh, things I need. I need a function. A function that get all CPT codes is equals to a function that returns an CPT code array. I need a function that save uh, uh, a CPT code that I'm expecting to have an arg params to be a CPT code and returns a void. And I need the list of CPT codes because I need to click in the one I want. List CPT codes is equals to a CPT code array. Oh, no. It has to be this has to be state. It has to be the CPT codes from the hook. See, if by changing the padding hook I return the right data, it should update this list. I'm gonna say here use CPT code. I'm gonna say uh, CPT code and is going to do something with this, okay? So pretty much what we're gonna do is to ensure that we can display this, and my params are totally optional to start with, or we're gonna get a slap in the face. Oh no, if I don't have params, it's totally fine. It's for me to trigger this first. Okay, if I don't have params, it's totally fine. But when I go into CPT code, oh, because this change. Okay, CPT code option. Oh, wait. Wait. Oh, wait. I am expecting this as CPT code. Okay, I'm gonna review the CPT code stuff. Because this is just only one value. Params options. Okay, params dot. Oh, hold on. Oh, yes, the CPT code is missing something super important here. Oh, and it has options. Okay, excuse me. So Oh, it's because it is expecting either. Okay, let me see the documentation for union. Oh, of course, I don't have that documentation here. Let me see Zod. Let me see union. Unions, yes. Or discriminated unions. Discrimin. Oh, hold on. Discriminated union is a union for. Yes, that's what is happening here. Unions such as can be represented with the discriminated union method. This enables faster evaluation because it can check the discriminatory key. So this is what is happening here. Is this a discriminatory key? CPT code, and this is insert CPT code here, and this is one moment. Okay, so we are going to the library, and we're gonna see you probably in the afternoon. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for passing by. See you next time.